Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. First things first, this is not a hickey. I just want to say, first things first, this and this, nothing bad. It's just, I scrubbed off my fake tan too hard. I don't know why I was feeling so aggressive, but I scrubbed it off really hard because it wasn't coming off. I didn't remember doing it that hard, but this is the result. I've basically shredded my own skin, which is great. So yeah, that's why that's there. I'm trying to cover it up, but like, it keeps coming out. So I just thought I'd tell you guys, if you see that, I've not been doing anything naughty, I've just shredded my own skin. But anyway, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a how to enhance your features with makeup video. For me, makeup is all about enhancing your features, not taking away from them. So I've learned quite a few things over the years of doing makeup, and I thought I would share them with you guys. Really good for any beginners out there. I'm going to be using quite a few affordable products. Yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy, and let's get into it. Key thing is skin prep. You always want to start with hydrated skin. A lot of people do not hydrate their skin enough before putting on makeup. So I'm going to go in first with a serum. This is the L'Oreal Hydrogenious Aloe Water Serum. It's the most hydrating serum of all time. I'm going to use about 3 pumps and just apply that to my skin. I am quite lucky with my skin, as in it's not too dry and it's not too oily. I feel like if you have super oily skin, you can obviously alternate these products just depending on your preferences, but definitely make sure your skin is hydrated. I'm just using a cotton bud with micellar water on just to make sure there's no skincare in my eyebrows, because that can interfere with the brow gel and all of that stuff. Now, brows play a very big part in defining your whole face shape, so I'd really recommend finding your brow shape. I'm going to put a picture up here of how my brows used to be compared to how the shape they are now. I feel like they just define my face so much better because they don't come down as much. Now you want to go in with a brow pencil. This is the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. It's absolutely incredible. It's quite a good dupe for the Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil, but obviously it's a lot cheaper. Mine's in the shade Taupe. The best brow pencils are the ones that have really, really small nibs, is it called? I think so, just like this. This just enables you to get really precise hair-like strokes, and it just makes your brows look a lot more natural. I'm gonna use this pencil just to define my eyebrows a little bit more. I'm gonna start at the arch and just create some hair-like strokes. As you can see, I'm not outlining my brows at all. I'm literally just creating extra hairs. I'm kind of making sure the hairs go in the direction where my natural hairs are going. So if I'm adding extra hairs to the front, I'm doing it upwards. And then if I'm going here, I'm kind of going at an angle. And then at the tail, I'm adding them downwards, just like that. So this is the Collection Colour Lash Clay Mascara. I use this all the time, and it's great just for a really fluffy brow, but it still holds it in place. So I'm going to push the brows up at the front, just following the natural shape of your brows. So an angle at the arch, and then down towards the tail. Guys, I completely forgot a step, lip mask. I always do this at the start of my makeup looks, just so that it can sit when I'm doing my makeup. My lips will be super hydrated when it actually comes to doing them. I love using a skin tint. This is the Fenty Beauty Ease Drop Blurring Skin Tint in the shade 8. This is a really good skin tint because it actually provides a decent amount of coverage, but it still looks like skin. Feel free to use your fingers to blend it in, but I like to go in with a brush. And I'm just gonna start smoothing that all over my skin. It literally blends so nicely, it just looks like my skin. Okay, now onto spot concealing. This is great if you have any blemishes or redness that you want a little bit of extra coverage on. So I'm using the REM Beauty Sweetener Concealer. You want to take a small brush, and then you just want to pat it anywhere where you want to conceal. There's a couple blemishes on my chin, so I'm just going to pat that concealer straight onto them. I get quite a lot of redness around my nose, so I'm just going to put some there. And I've got a few random little spots on my forehead. You want to make sure your shade of spot concealer is the exact same shade as your foundation shade as well, because you want this to blend into the skin seamlessly. Then I'm not going to fully blend in those areas. I'm going to leave them to sit for a bit. For bronzer, I prefer to use bronzer over contour when I'm enhancing my features, because it doesn't necessarily sculpt your face, but it just adds colour, adds warmth. I'm using the Say Beauty Sun Melt Bronzer, and this is great because it melts into the skin like it says. So I like to use a beauty blender and press this in the bronzer. I'm just going to press this on my cheekbones instead of underneath. I'm also bringing it up onto my temples. Bring a little bit on the outer corner of my eyelids as well. But that's made so much difference. It's added so much more warmth and colour to my skin. Using a sponge to do this as well. Just make sure you've got no lines. It blends into the skin so seamlessly. It's just the best way to get a super natural bronze look. And then on the forehead, you want to make sure you keep it on the outer perimeter of your forehead. And just press this right in, bring it onto your hairline as well. And then I'm just taking the pointier end of my beauty blender and I'm putting a little bit down each side of my nose. I'm not being super precise with this because we're not necessarily trying to shape the nose. I'm basically just adding colour to the centre of the face so that everything's more cohesive, because we've got colour all around the outer perimeters, but we need some colour in the middle. And then I like to do concealer now after bronzing because it makes sure it's kept super bright. Colour correcting is great, especially if you have dark under eyes. Mine aren't looking too bad today. Sometimes they look horrendous, but I'm going to show you anyway. This is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Colour Corrector in the shade Cherry Blossom. And this pinkish tone cancels out any under eye discoloration. So I'm just going to put a tiny dot here where I have the most discoloration. And I'm just going to use my finger to pat this in, and I'm going to keep this super precise to where I placed it. I hope you can tell how much that's taken away any discoloration. It's just a miracle worker. Okay, and then for concealer, you want to use concealer 1 to 2 shades lighter than your foundation, and the concealer placement is really crucial when enhancing your features. So apply a tiny bit here, here, a little bit on the outer corner of my eyes, and then a bit on the chin and the forehead. And then with blending concealer, I love to use a brush. I find if you use a beauty blender, it takes away a lot of the product, therefore takes away the coverage. So a brush just presses it into your skin and make sure you keep that coverage. So I'm going to start with my under eyes. And when you're blending, you really want to make sure to be super precise. Don't bring it down too much because that can elongate your face. We're just going to keep it right where we placed it. And then blending up here like this, and this is just really going to help lift the face by blending it like this instead of down. I think a key to really professional looking makeup that enhances your features is you just want to keep your blending very precise. Like, make sure everything is blended in the area that you put it. Don't spread it out too much. I'm just going in with my sponge just over that concealer to make sure there are no brush marks and make sure it's super pressed into the skin. This also just takes away any unnecessary product and just make sure your makeup is not going to look cakey. Now for blush, I'm going to use the e.l.f. Camo blush. It's one of my new favourites. It's a really good dupe to the Rare Beauty blush. This is in the shade Dusty Rose. It's such a stunning natural colour. So with blush placement, I'd really recommend putting it on top of your cheekbones instead of on the apples of your cheeks. Again, this is just really going to help lift the face. I also think putting blush here really enhances your cheekbone structure. It just makes them pop a lot more. And again, I'm being quite precise with the blending. I'm not diffusing it out too far. I'm just focusing this right on the top of my cheekbones. I'm really not bringing it in any further than the corner of my eye. Using a brush to blend all these cream products as well is great because you can really pat it into the skin instead of swipe. And that makes sure you've got a super precise placement, and it makes sure you don't disturb any of the base products underneath. Before powdering, I'd highly recommend going in with this setting spray. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. The Beauty Crop does a really good dupe to this though. It's the Amelia Olivia one. It's pretty much exactly the same. I'm going to spritz this all over my face. So what this does is really melt all of those cream products together. It also gives a super nice glow to the skin. Depending on what setting spray you use, that Charlotte Tilbury one does. It also increases the longevity of your makeup, so your makeup's going to look a lot more flawless for a lot longer. Now for powder. Powder is definitely crucial to making sure your makeup doesn't slip and slide all over your face. So I'm going to use the Jordana Tisha brightening powder, I think it's called. This is in the shade Marshmallow. I love this powder because it's got a pressed powder on top and then a loose powder in the bottom. I'm going to take the pressed powder first on a tiny little powder puff. How cute is this? And I'm just going to press this in. And then the key thing is you're going to pat off the excess powder on the back of your hand. Make sure any lines or creases are patted out. And then we're going to press in the powder right under the eyes, pretty much right where we put that concealer. So I'm being quite specific with the placement again. And I like to put a little bit of powder over my eyelids as well, just because I get quite oily eyelids. Making sure there are no creases and pressing this powder right where we put the concealer. A little bit around my nose here, because I tend to get quite oily here. I'm going to use the loose powder on the bottom for the rest of my face. I feel like it's a lot more natural. So I'm going to use my powder puff, a bigger one this time. Pat off the excess on the back of my hand. The best places to put powder is on the chin, because we don't want an oily chin. Right in the centre of the forehead, in between the eyebrows. And I'm also putting a little bit just on the jawline and making sure not to create a line there, because that can look quite unnatural. So I'm just patting this all around the jawline. As you can see, I'm completely avoiding my cheek areas because you want these to stay super glowy and hydrated. Now for some powder bronzer, this is the Milani Baked Bronzer in 05 Soleil. This is stunning because it has little gold reflexes in, so it's not completely matte. Just placing this bronzer exactly where I put the cream bronzer, here on my cheekbones and on the outer perimeters of my forehead. Really just going to help add another layer of depth and just set in that cream contour as well. Now on a smaller fluffy brush, I'm going to take my bronzer and apply it right onto my eyelids and bring this all throughout my crease, out here towards where I put the bronzer, so it's just connecting there, and then also down my nose here. Basically making the bronzer flow from my nose onto my eyelids and here onto my forehead and cheekbones, so it's all really connected. I'm using a smaller fluffy brush now into my bronzer again, and I'm just going to dust a little bit under the eyelids. It just kind of eliminates any sort of powdery look that the pressed powder may have given us. Again, it just helps with the flow and the cohesion of the makeup. Now for a little bit of highlighter, this is the Charlotte Tilbury Glow Glide Face Architect Highlighter in Moonlit Glow. This is stunning because it's not chunky glitter at all, it's just super shimmery, so it looks a lot more natural. So I'm going to take a tiny brush. I'm going to first add some right on the inner corner of my eyes. This just really helps brighten this area and it makes your eyes look bigger as well. Look how pretty that is. And we're going to put a little bit on the brow bone. This just really helps lift the end of the brow. And then on the nose, you want to do a very precise line right down the bridge. And I like to pat this in a little bit. And then a separate tiny little line on the end of the nose. The cheeks, I'm going to take a super sparse brush, tap off any excess, and just really lightly place this right on the apples of the cheek. So I'm not bringing it up here, I'm placing it right on the apples of my cheeks where the light would naturally hit. Placing it here just gives a lot nicer structure to your cheekbones instead of placing it up here. Again, the light just hits it really nicely, so it just makes the skin look a lot more glowy. Another round of setting spray before I do my eye makeup. This is just gonna lock all the powder products in. Now this step is optional and you could just skip straight to mascara if you don't feel comfortable with eyeliner, but I'm going to teach you a super simple way to do your eyeliner just to enhance your eyes a little bit. Best way if you're a beginner is to use an angled brush and a powder eyeshadow. So much more forgiving than a liquid eyeliner. So I'm using this, it's a winged liner brush, it's the 317 Wing Liner by Zoeva, and I'm using the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette. I'm using the darkest shade, it's not quite black so it's a little bit more forgiving, and I'm going to dip my brush into this, tap off the excess, and what you want to do is look straight into your mirror and follow where your bottom lash line would naturally extend to. So for me, I'm starting right in the corner, I'm just extending it out here. And what you want to do as well is I'm not placing the brush like this and just stamping it on, I'm really just using the corner of that brush. So it's super precise. So as you can see, I've literally just created a line where my bottom lash line would naturally extend to. And to connect it to your top lash line, place the brush more like this. So I'm stamping on more product. And I'm literally letting the brush do the work. I'm pretty much just stamping on that shadow, making sure there are no gaps on my lash line as well. And that's literally it, super easy. And then for the other eye, tapping off the excess. And I'm going to use my brush at this angle instead of this, so there's less product. So I have a super precise edge. I'm going to start from the very edge of my eye and bring outwards where my bottom lash line would naturally extend to. And then turning the angle of my brush, I'm going to start stamping that shadow on, letting the brush do the work. And there you have it, winged liner. For me, with my eye shape, I love this because it really extends my eyes. But yeah, honestly, I feel like the key with a lot of this makeup as well is it depends on your own face shape and it depends what you want to achieve. And make them look bigger, maybe skip out on this winged liner if you want your eyes to look more elongated like me, then this winged liner is great, but just focus it on the outer corner. There's loads of stuff. For mascara, you always want to make sure to curl your lashes. I used to never do this because I was just being lazy. But since I've been doing it, honestly, I've just noticed so much more of a difference in how my mascara looks and how long my lashes look. And then I'm going to use my favourite drugstore mascara. It's the L'Oreal Telescopic one. It's super thin, so it gives a super fluttery, elongated lash effect. If you're looking for volume, this probably isn't going to be the one for you. But I absolutely love this for the look I'm going for. You really want to focus on the outer corner lashes as well and bring them outwards instead of upwards. This is just really going to help your eyes look a lot bigger. Also focusing on the tips of the lashes as well and making sure they're all really coated. With the middle and inner corner lashes, I'm going to mainly brush these in towards my nose. I'm making sure to get every single tiny lash on the inner corner as well. And then for the bottom lashes, I don't like to apply too much because I find it drags my face down. But again, it really depends on each individual person. Some people really suit it. But for me, I just like to almost just tint my lashes black instead of adding any sort of volume and definition. So I'm just really lightly pressing the mascara on the bottom lashes. Last step for the eyes is I love to use a nude liner in the waterline. This just really makes your eyes look a lot bigger and it makes you look 10 times more awake in my opinion. This is my favourite one that I found. It's by Tarte. It's called Fake Awake. And I'm literally just going to run this right across my waterline all the way to the inner corner. And it's not super obvious, but I just feel like it makes your eyes look a lot bigger and more awake. Onto lips, what I like to do is take a cotton bud and just make sure there's no foundation or any products on my lips before going in with a lip liner. If you want a super natural lip look, I'd really recommend finding a liner as close to your lip shade as possible. Everyone's lip shade are completely different, so it's going to be different for everyone. I'm using this one, it's by Collection, and it's in the shade Nude Pink 1. I like to slightly overline my lips, but the key for doing this and making it look natural is only overlining the center. So I'm just going to overline just the Cupid's bow. And I'm going to overline only the center of my bottom lip, just here. And then I'm not going to overline the edge of my lips at all. I'm also just going to fill in just the corners of my lips as well. And this just helps with that pouty kind of lip shape. Smudging that in a little bit. Key step I do in every single makeup look is if you don't have a very defined lip shape like me, take a concealer on a flat angled brush. This is the same one I use for spot concealing, so it's the same shade as my foundation. And I'm just going to take a little bit on the edge of the brush and I'm just going to outline the edges of my lips and just make sure they're super neat and precise. So it's half my lips lined and half my lips not. I just feel like it makes the biggest difference. I feel like it makes them look bigger as well because they're not as diffused and more pouty. So yeah, honestly, I can't go out of the house without doing this step. Then for gloss, one of my favourites is the Rimmel London Thrill Seeker gloss in the shade... I don't know which shade this one is. I think it might be called Cocoa Sugar. It's the pinkish one. But yeah, a gloss or a lip mask is my go-to. I love the Sigma lip masks. Defo would recommend them, but I'm feeling gloss today. I love this gloss as well because it's not sticky at all. It kind of feels more like a lip oil. Okay, and then that is the final look. We are all done, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned some useful tips and tricks on how to enhance your features with makeup. Yeah, please let me know what other videos you guys want to see from me. I will see you very soon with a brand new video. I love you all so much. Bye!